Hey, yo, what up? Welcome back. This is not a podcast. It's just my thoughts with Rob Markman. It is Thursday, May 22nd in the AM. And just want to officially make this video just for the record, you know what I'm saying? And just have a question. Are we finished? Or are we done? Is it over? Can we officially call it? You know, when it comes to this Joey Badass versus Daylyt versus Vaughn, versus Reason, AZ Chike, the West Coast, you know what I'm saying? But really it's Joey, Daylyt, Vaughn are the principal players. Joey Badass won. Joey Badass won, reigns victorious. Can we all agree? That's where I'm standing. I think it's pretty clear. I don't think it is even debatable. But hit me in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. But I think it is pretty clear. I don't think it's a debate here. Joey won. Last night Daylyt dropped end credits and really put a cap on it. And in it he has lyrics. Son of a bitch 6ix9ine had y'all tucked in the ditch. The NY sound was up for the fishes. The ruler's back. Oh, you the man, Joey. Today I crown you king of New York for taking that stand, Joey. You really took the fade with all of us. A brave man. Funny, 6ix9ine had y'all tucked in the ditch. Look, I think a lot of this conversation and a lot of the excitement about it, and Daylyt really put a lot of that in perspective throughout the whole thing, is that, we know what New York means to hip hop. I just think that's not a debate. We know what New York means to hip hop. We know how New York has inspired other cities to do their thing, and do their thing they have. LA has done their thing. LA, I guess in the early days, inspired by hip hop, takes it and makes it its own thing and puts their own historic, indelible mark on the whole. And Daylyt is saying, as a spitter, it might have been hard. Like, he looked to New York for that inspiration, and people weren't looking to New York for spitters. But, guys like Daylyt, like Game, like Razcast, new guys like Vaughn, like Reason, like Kendrick, like, just really super lyrical. Obviously, LA has made their mark outside of New York. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta, all places across the map. So, so the question is kind of what's happened to New York since, the 6ix9ine, this Tekashi 6ix9ine is like not the New York, guys outside looking in, it's like, oh, that's not the New York that we know. Like, what's going on over there? So, it hasn't been inspiring here for a long time. Like, if we are being honest, and I'm from here, if we're being honest. So does this Joey thing turn the tide? I don't know. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to kind of switch what's going on. But that's a video for another day. Shout out to Light. But look, it all started with Joey popping this shit on the ruler's back. And again, that was a lot of Joey's thing. Too much West Coast dick looking like. And again, I always said I get how they take that offensive, but to me it was always Joey talking to New York, like, yo, let's get on our shit. So a lot of Joey's motives, at least in part, had to deal with rallying the troops home, is restoring the feeling back home. And right now he did that. So, he started popping the shit on the ruler's back at the beginning. And I said, okay, now we know how the West Coast is going to take it. Now Joey going to have to back his words up. And he did. He absolutely did. Elliott Wilson has been listing all of the songs, or at least all of the main songs. Looks like we got 29 songs in total during this whole thing, including the Rebel Cypher. Definitely a few more from a few ancillary cats. Maybe not like the main players in this, but 29 songs. And Elliott made a playlist on YouTube. I'm gonna put the link in the description so it's in there. But so it started at the ruler's back. Things really started heating up over the past week or so from the Red Bull Cypher. Joey dropped his verse, fire verse. He had the best verse in the Cypher. And that says a lot because Ab-Soul was there, Big Sean was there, and they both did incredible. This is not saying nobody is slacking, but Joey stole the show. He had a fire verse and really used the Red Bull Cypher to create a moment. Then we got the finals from Joey, fire record. My Town with Loaded Lux was dope. And the Lux feature was unexpected, the way he kind of alley-ooped it, and then Lux just came in, considering Lux's and Light's history. My Town was dope. And that was the thing. Joey just wasn't making diss records, right? And he wasn't. The diss records were strong and the records were strong and the lines were hitting. But he was also making moments. Like with his disses, he was creating moments. Rebel Cypher felt like a moment. You know what I'm saying? My Town, I mean, the finals just from, at this point, they're going back to him, Vaughn. Like everybody's just dropping back to back to back to back 24 hours later. So the finals, very fucking dope record, and then felt like a moment based off of the immediacy of it. And then My Town comes, and okay, we get a surprise Loaded Lux. Oh, that's a little moment. I ain't see that coming. That dope. And then Joey dropped Crash Dummy, and that really sealed the deal. Over the Tupac beat. Shit was just a dope record. Not his strongest lyrically out of the bunch of everything he's dropping, but it has an energy. It's kind of a bop. I don't know that it turns into this typical hit. We might not even ever see it on DSPs. Whether or not they clear the sample or not, I don't know. We might not ever see it on DSPs, but it was perfect for the occasion. You know what I'm saying? And Joey showed even another side of him because it was more. Again, definitely had stingers, but it was more playful. It was just more bounce to it. He started taking, like the West Coast flow and style and saying, hey, I could do what y'all do, and even, grab some of the peekaboo flow. Was it peekaboo? Yeah, peekaboo. He comes out with anywho. So he was just having fun with it. It just seemed too, as serious as this was, he didn't seem overly stressed. He was having fun. It was competition. So Joey, it's the combination of the records, the dope raps, and then he was just creating moments, and that's why I say that he won. So what happens next? And let me just be clear for anybody who is unclear about what I'm saying. I also believe pound for pound, Joey had the better records. Pound for pound, Joey had the better disses. You know what I'm saying? And then he just put it all together and created these moments. So what happens next? Joey says an album is coming around the end of August. He told that to Jeremy Heck from Hip Hop DX. Shout out to Jeremy. But I still feel like we're probably going to get music here and there. Maybe single rollouts start happening. I don't know what starts happening next, but I don't think Joey then, we don't hear from Joey and then, it's the end of May. We don't hear from Joey and then he pops up the end of August. I think he's created some dope momentum for himself. So I think we'll see Joey doing things. I mean, maybe there'll be features, maybe they'll, single rollouts, videos, stuff like that. I don't know when the exact rollout for the album starts, but it's not, I don't expect to not see Joey and then him pop out end of August with an album. So, I think Joey's created a momentum for himself that he's going to maintain throughout this album, which is dope. I look forward to actually seeing what the body of work sounds like and what he really has to stay and where he is out now in life. I think Vaughn is in great position. Y'all know I love the album. I talk about it so much. I try, just to promote it just because it's dope music. It's the type of music that really moves me. And I feel like me having a position, like if I don't cheerlead that, then what are we doing here? If we just only talk about the diss records because it brings traffic, what are we doing here? Vaughn has a really dope body of work called The Good, The Bad, The Dollar Menu. Has a message in there. It's an album that makes you feel something. Shout out to everybody in the Discord from the Monthly Music Club membership. I mean, we still talk about that album and how it made us feel the day that it dropped. Well, not the day that it dropped, but the day that I covered it, we went back and had a conversation in the Discord about it. And a couple of the members of our group, including myself, just start talking about our childhood and how we grew up and the different traumas that we've seen or faced and how we overcame that and breaking generational curses. Really dope album, and then really got grown men talking about it. So Vaughn is in a great position. So I think what Ray has the opportunity now is people who wind up on Vaughn might know his name from these disses and be like, oh, yo, but he could rap though. So now how does Vaughn turn that attention to saying, hey, all right, bet. And I have this album, I would love for y'all to check it out. Like what does that conversation look like? But I think there is a future for Vaughn here for sure, man, because he did this thing in this battle. And Daylyt is Daylyt. Battle rap legend, nothing changes there. Nothing changes with Daylyt and his legendary status in battle rap. And then he continues to transition as an artist. Keeps dropping records, keeps telling his story, and keeps growing in that arena. So I expect Daylyt to be in a better position after this. All these guys put on a dope display of just rap and what hip hop is about and what it means to be competitive, but not having to take it too far to the point where like it's real beef. So I commend them all for that. Now the question, right, is will Kendrick respond to Joey? Joey called him out throughout this whole battle, throughout this whole thing, saying he wants to smoke. He said that Dot's scared on Crash Dummy. Like that was an actual line in Crash Dummy. And I don't think Kendrick comes out with a diss record. Not right now. He's on tour. He's on his victory lap from the Drake battle. He's on his victory lap from the success of GNX. He's on his victory lap for having Luther be #1 for, I believe, 13 weeks now in a row. And then there's this up and coming lawsuit with UMG. So I'm not even sure how that factors in. I don't know. I really don't know. This is the speculation part, but during these proceedings, do they even tell Kendrick, hey, man, just don't get into nothing with nobody else before we settle this? And is it a legal matter? Like, I don't really know. I don't think so, and I haven't heard anything to that effect. But the lawsuit with UMG, I do believe, has the ability to affect how artists engage and diss each other on records going forward. And none of these Joey diss records are on DSPs. I don't believe. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that is because of this. I don't know if his label is saying, nah, we don't want to touch that. I really don't know. This is just speculation on my part. And it could have nothing to do with that. But, you know, you'd be a fool to say, hey, that people aren't watching what the outcome of this UMG thing is, and will that affect how people drop diss records in the future? We have to wait and see. And I'm not saying that's not giving Kendrick an excuse. I'm not saying that. I just think, even without the UMG thing, I just don't think that Dot is going to respond, at least right now. I think he's chilling right now. I said that on Twitter, or alluded to that because I didn't say much, but I said that on Twitter, and the OVO fan base really thought they hit me with a gotcha because when Like That dropped, I said, you know, Drake has to respond. So now that Like That is there, I was like, okay, this is a record that you can't ignore. And, you know, Drake was on tour too at that time, so they're like, you're a hypocrite. Kendrick doesn't have to respond to Joey, but Drake had to respond to Kendrick, blah, 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 blah. And that was what was being thrown at me. And you know I'm all about the nuance. Like That was just way different. Like That was a way different record. Like That came after 10 years plus of these guys going back and forth. The Control was in 2013. You know what I'm saying? Like That came after 10 years plus of these guys going back and forth, subliminal shots. It just had gotten to that point where it's like, I don't think Drake can ignore this. You know what I'm saying? I think he has to respond here. And then Cole too, because it was so direct. You know what I'm saying? It was so, and the magnitude of that record. And then that record hit #1. Yeah, you got to respond to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or Drake could have ignored it. Where would we be if he ignored it? But it felt like you couldn't respond to that. This Joey situation does not feel like that for Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? If we're being real, it's a different situation. And I never said that Kendrick didn't. I didn't say he didn't have to respond. I just said I don't think he would right now. I feel the temperature outside. The temperature right now ain't right. You know, when you've been around it long enough, you be like, damn, like, kind of feel like something's about to happen, something's brewing. The temperature, it just doesn't feel like it's going to happen right now. Don't feel like it's rain outside, if you get that metaphor, right? Now the real question is, again, and no matter what you think or you try to put the rules to this shit, this is rules, the rules of it. He called them out. He has to answer. Like, come on, man. Like, everybody is so strategic. Again, I don't think he answers right now. Now, the question is, does this stay unanswered? I think a few months from now, maybe it's on a feature. Maybe it's a Lucy. Maybe there is a deluxe coming after the tour, and that's what the red tarp on the GNX mean, and now the lights are lighting up and the engines are revving up for something else. Maybe. I really don't know. But I think a few months from now, I can absolutely see Kendrick acknowledging Joey with a line or two. But I don't think it's going to be an all-out diss. Like, you know, if you watch basketball, like a little sneaky elbow when the ref ain't looking. Like, oh, I got to get you back for that. Boom. And the ref ain't looking. Not a full-on foul, but I'm going to just hit you with that little, you know, Draymond Green under the, just, you know what I'm saying, the little sneaky elbow. Like when Jay says, I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 Cent? Just like a small shot, not a full on out war, and then you see where it goes from there. I could definitely see Kendrick doing that. I just don't see it happening right now. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that takes away from him if he doesn't respond. You know what I'm saying? But those are just my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what you think. So hit me in the comments. All right? Peace.